Common sense dictates that clients that you get from referral sources are predisposed that you're going to do a good job, as opposed to someone who comes in as a result of a mailer or TV or a billboard or even any other form of advertisement. Obviously, when you need a doctor or you need to get your car repaired, traditionally, most people ask a friend, a family member, or someone that they trust to give them a name. As such, the referred client is the objective you always want to have in your marketing program at the end. The overall goal is to be 100% referral if you can ever achieve that in your practice. Traditionally, a marketing client will have certain expectations based on the framework that is set out of what you are going to do. You achieve those expectations, you get paid for the results, and the relationship is over. If, on the other hand, you set expectations for a client, a marketing client, you can turn them into a disciple if you consistently exceed expectations, not only with the result you obtain, but with the customer service and how you treat and care for them during the pendency of the case. Then they will become a disciple for your firm. A client wants to be treated with respect, with kindness, with compassion. They want to be talked to honestly. They don't want to be talked down to. They want to know exactly what to expect, and they want to know what the pitfalls are in their case. Oftentimes, we think that we should just share certain information with the client. It is important to tell the client everything that is going to happen as best you can prognosticate it, because that's what they want to know. Oftentimes, people think that they want to know what the value of their case is. While that's important, that's not the most critical component. How do you give it to them? You consistently communicate with the client on a fairly regular basis. If you need to, you set guidelines. Even if the client has contacted you, that does not count. You must contact the client proactively on a certain time frame to make sure that nothing gets through the cracks. The most important department in your firm, bar none, is the receptionist and the people that take the incoming calls that come into your office. That person sets the tone, they set the tenor, they either are friendly or rude, they're either polite or prompt, they're either professional or unprofessional, and that tone will follow that call all the way through the end of that phone call and potentially through the end of the relationship with that client. It is critical that you focus on your front desk or your intake people at the get-go, because that is, first impressions are critical to the development of a client base that's loyal and will refer you cases. You should measure where your clients come from on a consistent basis. Every time a new client comes in, you have to ask the referral source how they got to you, why they got to you. As you track your calls and new cases, obviously, if your case count for cases that are referred by old or existing clients seems to be improving or going up, then you obviously are doing something right. You do not count traditional referral sources like lawyers, doctors, business people, community leaders, because those are people that you cultivate. To really understand if you are delivering the goods to your client base, you need to measure how many of those clients would be willing and do refer you new clients. The primary component of staff training for customer service is it is critical that we listen to the client, we try to be empathetic and sympathetic to their needs, we are honest with them at every point, and we try to set reasonable expectations. Most people in a variety of situations feel as if they are treated either abruptly or with lack of respect. If you give someone the attention and care that you would a family member or a friend, you can generally realize the type of client base that you're trying to achieve in a referral-based type of clientele. A lot of lawyers think that you spend a certain amount of money on marketing, you get X amount of clients, that generates X amount of cases, which ultimately generates X amount of fees, and you just repeat the cycle. That is one model. It's a not very fruition model, because ultimately what happens is you're always constantly dependent on your marketing efforts, whereby you should be growing your referral source and your client base based on the way you've treated your clients and the results you've given them. Most lawyers do not approach referrals as a legitimate source of clientele. They just think it's happenstance or by accident. Most law firms that generate a significant amount of their clients from referrals dedicate themselves to providing exceptional, can't live without us customer service. One of the most common mistakes we see made in law firms that don't necessarily have a referral program is they don't consistently measure how their clients feel about the services that they've provided them. And it's important to always survey your client to get feedback. Also, make it available to the client that if during the pendency of the case there's an issue or a problem, they know who to contact, and that there's a reasonably articulated chain of command whereby to designate if they have a problem. When we set up those programs that allow clients to tell you how they're doing, and the obvious step is you have to make changes or modifications if there are some areas that need improvement. Oftentimes lawyers think that they do it the right way and they don't really need any additional information or expertise to resolve a case or handle a case on the basis of their knowledge, expertise, and experience. But what we tend to forget is every client we represent is a different human, individual being that has different needs, different desires, different expectations, and they are communicated with on different bases, and that is all critical, that we are not cookie cutter. We need to be people to our clients. At the end of the day, that is a phenomenal way to start building a referral base.